Hey you guys, it's MJ. How are you? I felt inspired to share with you guys this, um, I guess just like the journey I've been on. I've been super just like sharing like transparently and like super honestly with you guys about the journey, about healing, about letting go. And something recently dealing with heartache and dealing with heartbreak, and something that I was really aware of, like traversing this phase. People talk about like the rebound, right? And like traversing this phase of, when you're dealing and with a lot of pain and people are just like, oh, okay, like come on, get out there again, or like whatever, and you're just like, no, like this pain needs to be felt, this pain needs to be dealt with, this pain needs to be healed. And personally, like I'm not somebody who at this point in my life, certainly I'm so aware of clearing this unconscious program of like needing a man for my own validation or needing a man for my own like self-worth, and like that's a real program for many 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 women, right? And so like suddenly to wake up to that and be like, holy shit, like I just spent most of my life like when men would come in just focusing on them, and like, and now it's like I get to focus on myself. And even people telling me what to do, even people telling me to date people or telling me I need to hang out with people or telling me to, I'm just like, no, you don't get to tell me what to do. And it's incredibly empowering. And then the real point of this was somebody shared something with me, and because they knew that I was dealing with like a heartbreak and a breakup, and they were just like, there's all these reasons, awesome reasons why. And then I watched this video and it talked about the rebound, and I kind of forgot about that as a thing, and why when we just rebound, we end up just going back into the same pattern, whether it's the same person or a different person, it doesn't matter, but we recycle patterns until we deal with the root pain or the root cause, the core wound that's creating that distortion in the first place. So I'm kind of at a point where I'm like starting to feel really proud of myself, because there was like this little midway point where I could see that like maybe I wanted to like distract myself with dating, or like find some guy to talk to, and I've just been like, no, like I'm gonna just focus on me, I'm just gonna feel and heal, and I'm gonna focus on work. And it's nice, it's suddenly nice to be like, I'm not responsible for other people, I'm not responsible for how he feels, I'm not responsible how they feel, I'm not responsible for what they're doing, I'm not, like, as in, some people might think this is weird to hear about this, but like my unconscious programs was always like, and because I'm empathic, it was like I feel people's stuff, I feel people's emotions, whether they feel it or not, and I take it on and I'll try to like make it better and like smooth it over and like give people love and keep like fan their flame and envision them like living a super amazing life, and like, yeah, like just invest like so much energy into people. And then like more recently just being like, oh, like some people don't do that, and like not everyone, some people just are in their own judgment, some people are just in their own little fantasy, like they just want you to fit into their fantasy, they're not really concerned about your joyful expansion, they just want you for themselves, or they just want you to fit into the box of what they think is like the right way to be. And so I'm kind of excited to be in this new merged healed space, and to see in a very kind of loving way what drops in, because I'm super duper acutely aware of having like, by sitting with the emotional density and doing the healing transformational work and like coming out the other side of it and feeling more grounded than ever, but at the same time more kind of like blissed out and joyful than ever as well. Even though there's just this merged unknownness, which is like I don't know, it's amazing. It's like just enjoying the journey, right? Um, yeah, and now I'm like, and because of doing all that transformational work, and like I know energetically, I'm like I've come to the other side of it, and I'm aware. That's the beauty. Like I'm aware of the patterns, so now like I don't have to do them again. I don't have to go over them again. I don't have to like fight for them again in that in that way. I'm just like, oh wow, I was carrying a lot of density. I was carrying a lot of unworthiness. And usually you can do that when you do a bit of reflective self-study. You can look back and see like where were you when you began something with somebody? What was the energetic link then? And then you can see that if you really look at how a journey with somebody kind of evolved, you can really look back and see where threads came undone, where maybe lies started to happen, and then shades come in, and then the clarity of the connection dissolves, right? And if someone's unclear, if someone's not able to communicate honestly, if someone's talking behind someone's back, like those are all shades that we usually do because we're protecting our ego, i.e., we're protecting ourselves from feeling the pain. And then our ego will then loop, someone different or a different situation, but we'll just recreate the same patterns. That's part of the like head fuck of this stuff, is that someone moving on might look like they're moving on, but energetically, if they haven't done the work, we just jump from one person to the next. But we're in these same energetic patterns. It's like when we never really leave home. That's just being straight up, you guys. Like for the most part, I'm sure there's rare cases and situations that would negate this understanding from my point of view, but it's like this modern thing of us staying really close to our families and like not being able to spread our wings and fly out the nest. Like mothers who keep the kids near and try to hold on to the children, I think is a very dysfunctional way to be as far as breaking family patterns, toxic ones I'm talking about, obviously, that we disengage and transform codependent, unworthy, dysfunctional family patterns. If we never leave the nest, we can't even see the patterns, let alone have a chance of breaking through them, because inside those patterns we just are hooking into each other, feeding certain low-level programs. So when I work with moms anyway, I'm very much somebody who encourages, like, you have to kick the kid out the nest in a loving way, but you have to give them the nudge, otherwise they'll never grow into the full potential. It's like a baby bird. If mama never kicks the baby bird out the nest, that bird never learns how to fly. It's that simple, guys. If you keep them all nested, that child just becomes a kind of needy, codependent child, rather than a child who can really stand on their own 2 feet and be themselves in the world. And again, this is like a generalization, and it can look different for everybody, but in essence, if we're, I don't know, in our little circles gossiping and feeding patterns and doing each other's bidding, like having to feel obliged because it's this family member or whatever, all that shit is ultimately like a big part of the new paradigm and dissolving slightly like dysfunctional low-level patterns in humanity. We make excuses for people. Certainly we make excuses for people that are close to us, and we often make excuses. Well, it's my family. And you're like, it doesn't mean that our families are perfectly whole and healthy, even if they look like they are, and that is the serious nugget of the juice of life when it comes to your emotions. Because if you can really get clearer with your relationship with your own emotions, you don't have to listen to other people. You don't have to like abide by other people's rules. You can literally just follow your own flow, and then other people have to deal with it. Other people then have to be responsible for how they feel, right? Once you really step into your power, other people have to step into their power, or they don't, and they just stay looped in patterns, and they probably stay all like judgy towards you. But again, the more clear you become, the less tolerance you have for people's judgments. You're just like, And that was like a real thing, you guys, like from processing all this depth. The last very brief interaction, like I could just feel the projection from the other person, and I suddenly like switched on. I was like, oh my god, they're talking to like the person I used to be. They're projecting onto me who they think I am based on something 6 years ago or something 3 years ago, and then like creating this story around the person I used to be, but I'm a completely different person now. And so how that communication, it feels as if somebody's like pinning me somewhere rather than meeting me where I am. And then that is a significant moment of I've released the pattern, because I'm no longer desiring to hook in to that energy stream, right? And ultimately it just goes. So like the separation happens, and then both people are just living their lives, right? And there's no communication. It's pure separation. So, but I'm just thankful to have this level of emotional awareness and emotional grit to sit to the point of feeling like your whole body is breaking apart, and to the point of your reality is coming undone. And then you, one day at a time, one breath at a time, one action at a time, you start to rebuild yourself from a new level of awareness, from a more integrated perspective, from a less bullshitty perspective, and from a place of knowing more of your worth. Because when we have to own and integrate that kind of rejection and abandonment, and that kind of self-betrayal and denial and gossip and secrets and lies, when we have to integrate and process and transform that kind of energy, it's deeply, deeply painful. And like ultimately, like, swear to God, now that I've done this healing, I can look back at like pretty much all of my past romantic relationships and in a loving way say that they were abusive. Because when we lie to ourselves, when we deny our intuition, we are in codependency, we're in levels of abuse. When I'm always doubting myself, when you're having a communication with somebody and they're making you doubt your intuition, or they're saying one thing and then your body's saying another thing, like when there's a lot of pain, for example, during sex, there's shades, something's going on in the relationship to create that pain. And usually, this is what I'm realizing, if we're somebody who gets this stuff that I talk about and we're self-responsible, then initially we're going to have to traverse those levels of subtleties and abuse, because we have to get to know ourselves as a clear channel. Hence, we almost invite in those shades. We invite in people who are going to lie to our face about how they feel. We invite in people who are going to play games so that we can understand that level of energetic exchange, right? If I haven't encountered that, how can I serve people who are going to encounter that? How can I really serve people who are on the path of merging with their oneness and merging with their intuition? Because we're all in essence on that path. We're just all at different degrees, you could say. And so, and that's the truth of the shit, you guys. Like, I literally have no judgment, because everyone is just where they are. And that's my practice, to have compassion for myself and compassion for other. We're all in pain. That's why we're hurting. And there's pain inside. That's why there's pain out there. So going as deep as I possibly can whenever I'm coming to the end of a cycle, and not just running away, and not just finding a new partner to have sex with, or not just finding, someone to move on to because I can't deal with the pain. Like, going to the core, like, basically that's what happened. I hit the void, and then the divine came through, and I was able to bear witness to my own self-denial. Like, the core wound of my embodiment process, like as the soul embodies into form, and knowing that denial was going to take place, like knowing, makes me so like, oh, it's so deep and profound and divine. But knowing that we cut off, knowing that we're the ones, it's not out there. You know, it's not some external force. We, as the divine creators, are the one who choose to deny the divine. And a lot of it has to do with how we use the divine. A lot of it has to do with using the divine to actually power over and manipulate other people, you know, rather than using the divine to simply heal self. And then once we heal the self, we can shine the radiance, you know? We can shine the oneness and the radiance. Oh, I don't know why. Oh, see, so this is like, there's a big storm coming. I have to go sit with it. Um, so yeah, keep sitting with your pain. You're safe. That's the thing that I need to always share with you guys. Like, you're safe to feel. You're safe to feel. Because I can honestly say, once you just keep feeling and you're like, like literally you penetrate so many veils and then like hit this, all I can say, it's like this, like just black void. And then it's like this, like, ding. It's like you hit your, it's like you hit your star point. It's like you hit your entrance point of creation into this veiled creative vortex. It's like you enter void, and then you know it's like a contract that you're like, pring, forget, veil, forget. And then this whole journey is just sort of this process of remembering who we are. And then the remembering of who we are is that we are the only one. We are the only one. I'm the only one, and I am the all, and I'm everything with you guys, and it's so beautiful. See, I'm gonna go process some emotion because I'm having a really like beautiful release right now. Love you guys. Have a gorgeous day, and just keep shining your beauty into the world. Bye.